Welcome to Love You Bro podcast. I am your host, Jude Davella, and as I do it up every week, I do it with my brother Jamie. What's up, bro?
What it do?
Man, we got a special show tonight. I know to all of our followers and listeners, we have a lot of family and friends out there that are huge Missouri Tiger lovers. We are Jayhawk fans, but we love all the schools, man, and we've got so many guys that I've been blessed to work with from KU, K-State, Missouri. I've worked with a lot of great Missouri guys that have come in the league that I've been blessed to have a chance to work with. And the guy we have on tonight has been one of my favorites I got to work with. But we want to welcome to the show tonight, University of Missouri grad, Martin Rucker. What's up, Ruck?
Judy, Jude.
What's up,
man?
Yeah,
Appreciate you guys having me on, man.
Yeah, man. Thank you so much for taking time out of your schedule to come on our podcast tonight. We have a lot of fun, doing this, man. We try to come up with different shows. And one of our things that we kind of talked about was how relevant we feel like, Missouri, KU, and K-State for the first time in a long time, that we think all three programs will be pretty relevant. I don't know. We love our Jayhawks, but you never know what you're going to get there. They could be up, down. They could be 9-2. They could be 2-9. You never know.
Yeah, it's a mystery up there. First off, though, I look decent in this gold and black. That's what I'm saying. If I would have known this shit, I might have switched it up a long time ago. You know what I'm saying?
More where that came from. There's a lot of merch out there now.
I'm telling you.
Hey, I got to tell a little story before we get started with Ruck on this. We're going to talk about is this hat. I'm going to give a shout out and kind of an honor to my cousin John Rana, who we lost back in 2012. When, as Jamie knows, when we lost our cousin, you remember how we used to battle with him all the time. It's KU Mizzou, and it's what we're going to get into tonight. This rivalry being renewed, but him and I used to always get into it, and we kind of made a joke one time and said, "Hey, if I pass away, you're wearing KU stuff to my funeral." And I was like, I'll wear Missouri stuff to your funeral if you pass away. And we were kind of joking. We were younger. And anyway, we lost my cousin when he was 46 years old. And I was doing his eulogy. So I had gone out before anybody got to church. And this Missouri hat, I went out and bought the night before. And I put it in the podium. So as I was giving his eulogy, there was tears and crying and laughter. And I was trying to kind of break up all just people being sad and everything. And I said, in honor of my cousin today, I said, I'm going to honor the bet we had made. And I said, I'm wearing this hat to lay him to rest. So that's the story behind this hat, man. But yeah, the gold looks good on you, bro.
Well, I'll tell you what, I've known you for a while, and you never look better than when you
Ruck, let's get into a little bit, man. You had a stellar career at University of Missouri, man.
Thank you.
Absolutely, man. Listen, you guys have done some great things over there. They're doing great things now. But let's talk a little bit about your career at Mizzou, and then we want to get into the whole KU-MU rivalry. We got Mitch Morse joining us.
Sure.
We hope Jeremy Maclin's going to call in and join us.
Yeah.
So we're excited about that. But talk a little bit about your career at Mizzou and your time there and playing for Coach Pinkel and what that was like there at Missouri.
Yeah, man, we had a lot of fun. Coach Pinkel, I think, was 2 years into his tenure at Mizzou whenever I showed up on campus. And it was a changing of the guard or just kind of a renewing of the team and the spirit, fan base, and everything, right? There was a lot of it was a losing culture, basically, when he showed up. And so there was a lot of things that he had to change.
Right.
And Coach Pinkel was one of those guys that it was his way or the highway, right? You were going to get your job done. That was Coach Pinkel, right? And it was his way or the highway. And there were a lot of guys that went on down the highway. But when we got there, 2 years into it, there were some guys who were starting to buy into his system that were a little bit older than us, and they were providing some good example, right? There were still plenty of bad apples that we needed to get rid of, or that needed to make that switch to the new culture. And it took a little while, and some, guys fell by the wayside along the way. But 2003 was the first year Mizzou had gone to a bowl game. I think since '98, I believe it was, Corby Jones and those guys.
Right.
Went to a bowl game that year, and so we beat Nebraska, that year for the first time in like 25 years.
Right.
And so things were kind of starting to turn the corner a little bit. Then 2004, we took a step back. We were winning games. Late into the game, though, we would seem to crumple, right? It was just a losing culture thing. Mm-hmm. We had to learn how to win and win consistently.
Right.
And so 2004 was a little step back. 2005, we got back to the Independence Bowl, kind of returned to our winning ways. 2006, we had gotten, our minds right? We knew we could win, and we knew how to finish games. We just had to go out and execute and do it. 2006, we had a better season. We went to the Sun Bowl. And then 2007 was the year that we put it all together. And we had, a group of guys in that leadership team and the seniors that had been through the ups and downs, right? That had seen the classes come through that halfway bought into what Coach Finkel wanted to do, that a quarter of the way bought in, and that none of the way bought in.
Right.
And we realized that the way that we were going to have success was if everybody bought in. Everybody did their job, and we were all rowing in the same direction. And that's what made that year so fun, was the unselfishness about it. We had so many good weapons on that team, right? Guys just fighting for each other and not for themselves and for their own stats, and it just turned into a great year.
Yeah. Was Chase Daniel? Was Chase your quarterback then?
He was.
He was your quarterback
that was considered and arguably one of the greatest teams in the history of Missouri, 2007. Sure. I mean, it was only 2 losses, Oklahoma in the regular season, right? And then you guys were a step away from going to the national championship.
We were.
I mean, that's how good and a solid. But you know what? You guys also had a hell of a coaching staff. Coach Christensen, Eberflus, who's he's a defensive coordinator for the Cowboys now. He's with the Bears. Barry Odom was on that coaching staff, right? I mean, that was a loaded. I mean, so that's incredible that he brought those guys with that all had that made that people started to buy into, and you could tell that's something that majorly needed to happen because Missouri, like you said, the losing culture from the fifth down in Colorado to the kick ball and Kyle Davidson where the game's over and that freaking ball shoots out of anywhere and catch it, and it just because I had friends that were just like, oh, we're gonna lose. This is what we do it. And you throw in basketball wise the Tyus Edney thing, and it's like that dude goes the length. I mean, it was just a culture just in general. But you can tell when Coach Pinkel got there, stuff started to change. And it might not have seemed like overnight, but it happened relatively quick in my view, where it's like, okay, you guys were in games that you guys weren't in the year before, 2 years prior before you get in there.
The big thing was that we learned how to finish games.
Sure.
Right.
There you go.
You can get a lead, but the game's not over until it's over. And that was one of our Achilles heels is, we would go into November and we'd have a shot. All our goals, all our dreams were out there. And then we'd get into late in the game, we'd have a 12-point lead and we'd lose by 2. Right. And we just did that consistently for 2 years. In our senior year, we were just, the Lord blessed us and we were able to put it all together and turn those 2-point losses into 12 and 14, 28-point wins.
Of course, Jamie and I talked, a lot when we kind of reference, talking about the Chiefs the last few years. Last year, Mahomes didn't have his best season. They didn't have a great receiving core. But like Jamie and I always talked, and what you just talked about with your Missouri teams, they knew that they had those veteran leadership in there. They knew how to close out games. And it seemed like every team like Denver and San Diego or someone that would get close, Buffalo, it was like Kansas City always knew, if we get the ball last, like it's over. Like they just knew, like, we don't care if we played a shitty game and it's close, we're still going to close it out or whatever they need to do. So that's when you guys got to the point of being like, you got over that hump of, we don't care where it's at. We're going to finish this game and win.
Absolutely. And we got aggressive, right? Every single time we won the kickoff, we took the ball. We didn't defer it. We didn't kick off. We took the ball. We were like, we're going to score first, and you're going to have to catch us.
Sure. And you guys, and that team was loaded. I mean, you guys had a lot of dudes that played in the league. I mean, a lot of dudes that played.
With that offense, you want the ball. You wanted the ball first to go score.
The Tony Temple was on that squad, right? Okay. So
sure
Temple from Rucker.
For 1,000 that season as well.
Yeah.
Okay. So we had, 1,000-yard receivers, 1,000-yard rushers, 6,000, 5,000-yard passer. I mean, just unbelievable.
Yeah. What year J-Mac get to Mizzou?
Oh, man, I want to say maybe 06.
06? Because he was only there 2 years, right? Mm-hmm. He was there 2 years?
Yeah. Well, he was there 3 because you had to be there for 3. You could leave your junior year. But he tore his ACL.
That's what it was. That's what it was,
and he played for 2.
That's right. That's right.
Okay. So 05, then sat out 06, played 07, played 08, and then went to the draft.
Yeah. And so, I've always been one of those Kansas fans that there's a lot, like there's dudes I like for Missouri. Sure. And, and there's some of my friends that just hate, hate. And it's like, I could never get with that. I was like, man, I'm like, I go, there's some dudes I fuck with on that team. It's like, you're one of them. Pig Moore on your team. I thought he was nasty. Who's that? That safety, Pig Moore.
Oh, Pig Brown.
Yeah, Pig Brown. Yeah, there you go. He was.
Arguably, if he doesn't get hurt that year, we don't lose to Oklahoma.
And that boy would lay it to you. Yes.
He was good.
Yeah, it was just a fun team, and then obviously Chase just doing Chase things back there, and it was a fun team to watch, and I'd catch myself low key rooting.
Well, I mean, you think about it. You had Denario Alexander on that team, right?
Great wide receiver.
Was hurt.
Yep.
Had he not been hurt, he was another special talent.
Yeah.
He's probably one of the most gifted, if not the most gifted athlete I've ever seen.
Okay.
Right. So you had him, you had Jeremy Maclin, you had Will Franklin.
Will Franklin. Will Franklin with the Chiefs swap. Chase Kaufman. There you go. Okay.
Chase Kaufman.
Okay.
Tommy Saunders, kid from Kearney.
Yes,
right?
yes.
Hell of a ball player.
Myself. Then you had Derek Washington.
Yes.
Running back.
Yep.
Tony Temple,
Yep.
running back.
Yeah.
And then our entire offensive line was from Missouri.
Right.
Right. I mean, just
That's really cool, though. I like that. All that Missouri and all that local talent.
absolutely. And then Chase Daniel slinging it just like he does. I mean,
Yeah. And did you guys have you guys gotten together as a team, like whether it's a reunion in Columbia or something like that with all the
I don't know if everybody's all been together, but
sure.
you got a lot of the pieces for different spring game functions and things like that. They had a reunion for I think it was like 20-year Cotton Bowl or 20-year Independence Bowl or something like that. And
Yeah.
Golly, it's been 20 years.
Yeah.
That hurts right here a little bit.
Tell me about it, Rock. We started talking to some of these guys, and I started thinking about it. I'm like, man, what? I remember, I remember when I was working for Pat Surtain back in the day.
Sure.
And Pat Surtain II.
Yep.
I remember him running around in Overland Park, and now this kid's, Defensive Player of the Year in the
Balling,
NFL, and
yeah.
balling out.
Run around River Falls.
Yes, running around River Falls. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I remember.
It's crazy where time has gone.
And so, what did that game in 2007? And once again, if you're an MU fan or a KU fan, you remember that game at Arrowhead.
Sure.
It was. I mean, you guys land on the front cover of SI for the first time, and it was I remember the anticipation leading up to that and what it meant, and just it was the talk of the town.
It was 1-2, right? I mean, interrupt.
2 and
It was
3.
1-2. 2 and 4. Okay. I knew it was
But-
up there.
1 and 3 lost earlier that day.
Okay, that's what it was.
So everybody
That's what it was.
knew coming down to
Okay.
it that
And
the
it was
winner of that game
was
gonna be
it
number
the
one.
day after Thanksgiving, or was it when was it like?
Was it Thanksgiving
It's
weekend?
around Thanksgiving.
Yes.
I just can't remember if it was
It may
the
have
day
been the
after or a
Saturday. It
couple
may have been the
days after.
Saturday. I think the Saturday after Thanksgiving.
Saturday
It was Thanksgiving weekend. Saturday
But
after
I remember it
Thanksgiving.
just being like I said, it was just the talk. I mean, all over the city, restaurants, bars, friends. I mean, it was before the internet, but like, where you can get real crazy. But I mean, it was just a lot going on. And I remember, it was cold. It was cold, and I wasn't ready for all that.
Was that the day it snowed? Did it snow?
didn't
No, it
snow.
wasn't snow, but it was just cold.
Was it the next year? Was it the 08 game that snowed? One of those
think
KU
it-
Mizzou games that snowed.
Might have been the next year.
Yeah, it might have been the
I
next
think
year.
it was,
You might have been. Yeah, it might
I
have been
think
next year.
I might have been, but just the anticipate. I mean, the parking lot. And I've been. What my family's been going, Chiefs games for my entire life, and I can't remember the energy, even for AFC Championship games that I was at. That meant and what meant to everybody and generations of Missouri fans, generations of Kansas fans of what that meant. What was that like leading up to for you personally and as a squad? Was it just like do anything to win this and move?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It was awesome though. There was no better. You couldn't write a book that good.
Yeah.
Right? To have those two teams playing for number one. Right.
Yeah.
Historically, both bad football programs.
Right. Historically, yes.
With just this fierce rivalry. And then all of a sudden, both of them are good that year. And it comes down to who's going to, win the Big 12 North and go to the Big 12 Championship
Right.
Yeah.
for the first time in both programs' history. And it's all resting on that game that night.
At
You can't write
Arrowhead,
it in.
KCML, Missouri,
In
Kansas.
Kansas City. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Can't
what
write
made
any
it just.
better.
I mean, it was incredible, man. I'll never forget that feeling as long as I live.
We're gonna be blessed to do our podcast in Columbia when KU Mizzou renew this rivalry. Do you feel, T-Rock? Do you feel like because there's been so much time that's gone past that Mizzou's in the SEC now? I mean, back to back. Is it 2 or 3 10-win seasons they've had, or is it 3 they've had?
Three.
Or 3 in a row.
Yeah.
I mean, that's banging it out. You have 3 10-win seasons in the SEC. But do you feel like that rivalry that day to the guys in the locker room, is it going to mean what it meant to the Ruckers and Chase Daniels and J Max back in the day to what it meant to us back in the day, or is it's different now? You think?
It will be hard to mean as much to those guys in the locker room. Now, the coaches are going to do a really good job, right? Athletic director is going to do a really good job. Everybody's going to do a really good job. But for the first time, and it's been gone so long, it would be really tough for those guys to feel exactly what we felt. But the fans will.
Right.
Sure.
Yeah, the fans
The
will.
stadium will.
Yes.
I promise
Yeah.
you that.
Oh, my
Once
God,
they step
yes.
out there and leading up to it, they're going to understand how big the game is.
Yeah.
That stadium's gonna be crazy.
And I would
that day.
imagine leading up to it, from alumni to, to people that have played it like yourself of what that meant, if you're up at a practice, if you're up there for, before that happens, because it does mean so much more. And I know on the basketball side, when we went, when KU played MU a couple years ago, Coach Self, he was still pissed.
Oh, yeah.
And he was like, and he, we have some friends that, coach up there still. And he was like, it was, he was pissed. He woke up pissed that, a couple days before and was just like, pissed off. It's Missouri, and it's, and it was something, and I think you're right. I think a lot of the kids, especially now, transfer portal, all that, it doesn't mean as much. And that's a good question for you because, when you were there, you had your teams that you just didn't like.
Sure.
No matter what. You're the guys you respected, programs you respected, but the wins meant more. I mean, wins meant more. That Saturday night when you went out, it's a little bit nicer when you got over on KU. I mean, it was
so, we're pulling down into the stadium, right? You come down that hill and, the sun's setting behind us and you can just see the stadium glowing and it's freezing cold. Right? You see the barbecue pits, the smoke in the air and everybody's breathing. And then you get down into the parking lot and everybody's just banging on the bus. And they don't know who's in there. And I don't know if they figured it out or not, but you guys are flipping off the bus and everything. I mean, it's just unreal to see. That'll never be replicated again.
No, absolutely.
Like that.
No, absolutely.
I don't think the guys, and especially I would think so much from a standpoint of, the transfer portals and all that type of thing that go on. Even us being the fans that we are, even in basketball, you just don't see the. I think Christian Braun brought up really good last year when KU was struggling, whatever. And Christian goes, "I'm just tired of seeing the kids play for the name on the back and not what it means to play for what's across the chest." We're back in those days, Missouri. You guys stood for what that black and gold meant, what that MU meant, man. That meant something. In Kansas, it meant something. But I mean, like you said, I don't think we'll ever be able to replicate.
There may even have been some guys back in the day who played a little bit more for the name on the back than the front. But that game, everybody was playing for the name on the front.
Which is incredible. I mean, that's how it should be. So that's going to be exciting times, man. I can't wait to go up there and be, in Columbia, be it Faroe, and just get that feeling because it will. The crowd, because once again, you have a bunch of old heads and unks like me up there, like, and I'm mild. I'm like, I'll go up there and I'll party with everyone, but it's like put it this way, there'll be some friends of mine that I'm tight with, they'll be like, man, fuck Jamie today, man. I'm like, what, man? Come on,
That's
we 50.
What it's supposed to be. That's the way it's supposed to be.
50, man. Come on, man.
I'll tell you what, too. You talk about how crazy that night was and how loud it was and being in Arrowhead. That's still top 3 largest crowd in Arrowhead history for any
awesome.
event.
Absolutely.
I think it's either number 2 or number 3. Whatever, it still holds the record.
That's awesome. We're blessed tonight to have you on. Like I said, T-Ruck, we can't thank you enough for coming out, taking time out of your schedule, man, to come on. We got Mitch Morse is going to call in. J Mac does text. J Mac's calling in about 7:30. So, nice. I mean, Mizzou legends, man. And it means so much to me that you guys take time out of your schedules to be a part of our podcast, man.
Happy to do it.
I talked to Joe Zwillenberg. I talked to Joe earlier today.
Joe.
And JoJo said he's gonna have us set up, man, to do our podcast that day. But we're gonna come out. We got some sponsor some really cool T-shirts. So that day we're gonna be handing out. We'll have beer in our tent. We'll have some people handing out some beer from the tubs, and then we'll be handing out. We got so many of the MU black T-shirts we'll be handing out that day. Show a little bit of your swag you got today.
Go.
Love you, bro.
T-shirt.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So we got Rucker Love You Bro podcast, black and gold. Then we also got him a hoodie. That's gonna look good on you right there.
If it start getting cold to be on that golf course, you can put that hoodie on right there.
Put it in my drawer before my wife and my kids get it. I'll never see it again.
There you go.
Speaking of the best burger in Kansas City is our guy Joe.
Best burger in Kansas City, Westport Flea Market. Westport Flea Market is our sponsor for tonight, man. I called Joe and told him, I said, there's no bigger Mizzou alum than you, brother. And when I told him the show we were having, he goes, are you kidding me? Like, I absolutely want to sponsor the show. So shout out to Westport Flea Market, 100%. What they do over there, Westport Road, best burger in Kansas City.
Hands down the best burger.
If you haven't been down there, man, go check out Westport Flea Market. And we want to shout out to our guy, Specialized Printing. Tommy O'Donnell, who does all of our gear. We got all the cool black and gold gear. We will have some crimson. We will have some blue and some crimson KU T-shirts.
You don't have to take it if you don't want to. Don't let them force it on you.
So we're going to have those as well. On tonight's episode, we're kicking off the college football season and kicking it off with the University of Missouri. We have some special guests tonight. We want to say thank you to our sponsor tonight, which is Westport Flea Market, 817 Westport Road. We just want to say thank you to them. Best burger in Kansas City. Shout out to Joe Zwillenberg and what those guys do over there at Westport Flea Market. Best burger in Kansas City. Can't tell you guys enough to get over there. Grab a beer, grab a burger. Always a good time over there. They've been doing it for a long, long time over there, for many years. So thank you to Westport Flea Market for sponsoring our MU Kickoff Football Show. Welcome back to Love You Bro podcast, where tonight we're doing our MU football kickoff show. And I'm telling you, man, I am blessed. Jamie's blessed that we have three legends. We have three Missouri legends on our show tonight. Martin Rucker, T. Ruck, thanks for coming on the show.
Absolutely.
And right now we want to welcome in our guest, 10-year veteran in the NFL, just retired, man. Guy has been a hoss in the NFL and a legend at Mizzou. We want to welcome on Mitch Morse. What's up, Mitch?
Well, I think legend at Missouri is pushing it a little bit. I attended, and it was a beautiful thing. I appreciate you guys having me on.
I think there's people and coaches that the stuff I've read, Mitch, about your time there. You were a guy that played multiple positions across the line there at Mizzou, and you were a legend. I'd say, man. I'd say a legend.
Yeah. The internet lies, kid. The internet.
Hey,
I can't believe everything you read.
Mitch, so listen to this. You're a legend in our house. So about a week and a half ago, I'm in my room and my girls start going crazy. And they're like, Dad, Dad, Dad. And the TV downstairs was on NFL Network. And they're like, it's our friend. They come running up. I'm like, who's our friend? And it's like, Dad, Dad. And I'm like, what are you talking about? So they drag me down the stairs. Like, look. And it's you on NFL Network. And you looked handsome as ever and svelte as ever. But they were so excited that you were on the TV that they went up 3 flights of stairs to tell me that our friend was on TV.
Well, I don't know what you did, the good deeds you did, because when I got to meet your kids about a year ago, and it was a blessing. Dog. They're good. They're a good crew, and it was more of like an old man Make-A-Wish deal for them letting me on NFL Network.
It was amazing. You were great. You're great.
I loved it. I appreciate it, buddy.
Hey, Mitch, let's get into a little bit. That's what we're talking about. You know, obviously doing the Missouri kickoff show. When Jamie and I talked about this a few weeks ago, we really wanted to bring on, guys from Mizzou, guys from KU, guys from K-State, because we felt like the three programs this year, for the first time in a long time, are gonna be relevant in college. Listen, we know our Jayhawks could be 9-2, they could be 2-9. We never know. But Missouri coming off 3 10-win seasons, K-State and what Kleiman's doing over there, they're doing some big things. We're talking about how this Kansas and Missouri rivalry is being renewed, and we were just talking to Ruck. Tell us a little bit about your time when you were at Mizzou and what that was like, because you didn't play Kansas when you were there, correct?
Well, we were in the twilight years of that rivalry, right? Like we played them twice, but I got like 3 field goal attempts versus Kansas, which was I'll bank those, dude. I'll bank those. But no, so Ruck was there in 2007. Like when we were at Missouri, that 2007 team was folklore. It was legend, right? And it was encapsulated by, I think they ended up 3 or 4 in the nation. But the thing that they were most proud about was I think they routed Kansas, and that was a Todd Reesing.
Yes, Todd Reesing.
And they re-showed that highlight. They re-showed that highlight.
Right.
And I think Martin actually had a touchdown in that game, if I'm correct.
Yep.
Yes, he did.
To kind of help seal that deal. Martin actually, I think, had 163 total yards versus Kansas in his career, if you're wondering.
Love it. NFL Network again, baby.
But he, so we kind of got the tail end of it. I really think, I think it's just a beautiful thing for college football to have it back. Talking about, of course, the alumni of both schools, maybe more so Missouri, have been begging for this to come back. But even talking to people around the two schools, it's palpable, man. Like having this rivalry back, it's beautiful for the state of Missouri and Kansas. And although maybe if you go back way in history, Missouri wasn't on the super duper good side of all of that stuff, it's really not great. But it really is something. Like the hate is real, and it's something, especially coming from Texas. I had to be indoctrinated into the whole thing, and it'll be fun to see just that kind of that rebirth of one of the oldest rivalries. I think when it ended, it was one of the top 3 oldest rivalries, along with like Army, Navy, maybe Princeton, Yale, and then it was Missouri, Kansas. Like to have that back is so big, dude. I just love it.
Mitch, are you coming in town for it? Will you be in Columbia for the game?
That's a great question. The original plan was I was going to, and then the Chiefs actually reached out, and they're going to have me down to Brazil for a few days for the game. So I don't know if I'm going to be totally able to.
Oh, that sucks, Brazil.
Get that back. Yeah, Brazil, real bummer. But it was one of those things that I don't know if we could turn it down. And they're treating us really well, and the Chiefs have always been great to me. So It does hurt missing it for sure, but I think I'm going to make the Mississippi State game in November.
Sure.
Nice.
Awesome.
Hey, listen, that's awesome that the Chiefs are bringing you down there, to Brazil to be there for that game. That's really cool.
Yeah, it's another Make-A-Wish deal. It's just everyone's feeling so bad for the kid after he retires. It's a great honor, and I appreciate it dearly.
So Mitch, tell us a little bit. Even when you and Ruck here, Ruck, I want you and Mitch to kind of tell us a little bit. What was it like playing for Pinkel? I mean, to me, Pinkel was. I mean, he's a legendary Mizzou coach. I mean, what he did for that program,
Ruck's impersonation of him was dead on too. And I was in stitches. The stuff I've heard is like, whoa, that was really good. He did a little impersonation earlier.
I'm gonna let Ruck take that over, dude, because he was there for the inception of the whole thing.
Were you with Coach Pinkel for your whole career?
Oh yeah. It was. I don't know about you, and I'll let you take it, but Coach Pinkel was a great delegator. Like, I never saw him actually coach more than 3 times, and when he did, everyone stopped. And they were like, "Hey, Pink actually did some coaching." Which is great. It doesn't take away from the fact that he made a really competitive environment, great football. But I would love to see, because I know he was more fiery at the beginning of his tenure as a Missouri football coach.
Boy. He was. He was a lot more fiery then. He kind of mellowed out towards the end, but whenever you start winning, it's a lot easier to be nice. You know what I mean?
Ruck, what was Pinkel like? What was Pinkel like KU week? What was it like Kansas week?
Oh, super intense, right? I mean, even more so. That vein that he had in his forehead that, would start pulsating when he got angry, that thing was just always on display the whole week, right? He was ready to go. He made sure we understood how serious that game was, and made sure that we were ready, right? He was going to make sure that, like you said, he was a good coach. He managed our team very well, and he made sure that guys were prepared. And we understood the gravity of that rivalry, and we understood that we had a job to do when we went out there.
Right. Mitch, what do you remember the most? I mean, what's some of your favorite stuff about Pinkel, or what do you remember the most? Or, I mean, what are some of the legendary games you played when you were in your Missouri uniform?
Yeah, well, that's a great question. I think the one thing I remember about Coach Pinkel is his ability to take chances on guys who might not have been highly touted, and really trusting his group to they break you down to build you up as football players. And what his whole thing, which kind of drove you nuts and made you have some sleepless nights, was he was going to create competition in every facet of his program. And what that does is it throws you into the fire, and it breeds good football. The games that you bring up, the first thing that comes to mind is when I was a freshman, red shirt. You're just you're swimming, right? Like, you're just kind of along for the ride. But Missouri hosted Oklahoma, who was #1 in the country in 2010, and it was College game day, and they rushed the field. Although I wasn't a part of that one, there was one in 2013 when we kind of clinched that first SEC East after a year where no one really thought we belonged, and got to go kind of see what the SEC was all about, and kind of prove that we belonged, which was a really cool deal. And we had some great senior leaders on that group. And I think if you ask people from the past, it's kind of reminiscent of that 2017 that Martin was a part of. Just a beautiful thing. And we were able to go to the championship. We lost, but really it was fun to see people proud of their football team. And there was plenty of that while we were there. It was an embarrassment of riches in regards to players, but also just the ability to win football games was something that's not lost upon me.
Right. So, we were talking to Ruck here a little bit ago about just, renewing the rivalry, and this rivalry coming. How difficult will it be for the coaches from Kansas and Missouri to get the kids to buy into the rivalry that you guys knew, that Ruck knew, Chase Daniel, Jay Mack, that those guys knew, that you guys knew back in the day? How tough will it be for the Kansas, Missouri coaches to get their kids to buy into? I mean, will the people in the stands be more fired up than the kids in the locker room, or will they get it? Well,
I'll let Ruck take this, but my part would be saying that I've talked to Drink a few times, and it's interesting. So they have this new weight room. It's real swanky, and they have these little punching pads just to practice hand placement. And every one of those punching pads has a Jayhawk on it. So
love that.
And I guess they've brought in people, they've brought in coaches, they've brought in ex-players who have been a part of that rich culture to just try to hammer home the importance of it.
That is awesome. I love that. So Mitch, you were there when you guys, made the switch over, going to the SEC. What was that like? And I mean, you guys got a gauntlet over there, man. When you guys are in the SEC, I mean, I'm seeing what Texas is doing over there. I'm seeing Oklahoma going there. They're probably struggling a little bit more, but I mean, what was that like when they're like, okay, you guys are leaving the Big 12, you guys are going to the SEC? What was that transition like, Mitch?
It was exciting. We understood the enormity of entering the Southeastern Conference, but we thought we were playing pretty good football in the Big 12, and I'll still die on that hill. I thought that was a really good time to be in the Big 12. But there was definitely a difference in intensity and just different style of play. There's just some big suckers on those teams, man. And every game had a joker on there. And not to say that the Big 12 didn't, but I mean, even just going to different places that, like a South Carolina, where you didn't think was going to be that crazy, and it was just so sneaky, impressive. And then you go play at a place like the Swamp, and the problem is we kept following A&M wherever we went. We played A&M every year we were there. They kind of went with us. And I don't know about Ruck, but I'm sure we share the border with Arkansas, so they kind of tried to force the whole Arkansas thing on us. But when I was there, we hated A&M and A&M hated us, and we both left the Big 12 at the same time. I thought that would have kind of been a fun thing. But to answer your question, it was that 2012 season we played, we kind of got our ass kicked a little bit. Right. You could put to injuries, you could put anything, but it was a different style of play. And then, like I had talked about earlier, those senior leaders in that 2013 team really came and brought some competitive juice to that bunch. And it was just fun to play in those storied college stadiums and then have that aura kind of follow us home. I mean, it was really fun to pack out that Faroe Field and see that energy kind of permeate through that, just kind of like we had gone to at an LSU or the Swamp. And I've enjoyed it. Is it strange that Missouri's in the Southeastern Conference? Yeah, a little bit, but we really appreciate the challenge and just the history of it all.
Yeah, hey, Mitch, one of the things that I noticed going from college to the pros is the speed of the game, right? High school to college, not too big of a jump. College to the pros was huge. Do you think there was a big jump from the Big 12 to the SEC? And do you think that helped better prepare you for the NFL? Or do you think it was about the same and you still had a learning curve?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think regardless of where you come from, there's definitely a learning curve, like you attested to. You've been in that first training camp, Ruck. Like, it's a baptism by fire. No matter what you do, the mental aspect of the game, the physical aspect, of course. I would say the speed, the Big 12 was a very fast conference.
Sure.
They always have been. The thing that I felt was different was just the size of the interiors, the linemen, the interior seven, would you say? Yeah. It's a little bit bigger. They still had that speed, but you can't take away from the fact that the Big 12 had some speedsters, man. Like, that was fast football. I mean, think about I think about going to play Baylor in 2011. I was just still on the sidelines, but watching Robert Griffin III go off and do that and just be like, this is about as good as football gets, man. So that's a great question. I think you're going to have that jump regardless, but the SEC definitely helped with just the size along with that speed.
Yeah.
I mean, I think when you guys made that switch to the SEC, the one thing I noticed, and I'm just an average schmo on the sideline fan that's looking, but to me it was like you said, the size on the lines, but the depth. It just seemed like the Alabama and Georgias would go 3 or 4 deep, where I felt like Mizzou's ones and some of the twos could play with those guys, but I felt like the Alabamas and the Georgias, their 3s and 4s could and would just wear you guys down. And when I was telling Jane back then, I'm like, I felt like Mizzou was about ready to take the Big 12 over and start winning that thing, because they were starting to beat up on Oklahoma. I'm like, dude, Missouri's about to take the Big 12 over and have a chance every year. And then they made that switch to the SEC, and I was like, oof. And like you said, the first year I was like, wow, they're kind of taking a beating. But I felt like you guys didn't have the depth or the size to compete with some of those schools. But I'm telling you, what Coach Drinkowitz has done over there, man, he's a hell of a recruiter. And you guys, I mean, what do you guys expect Mizzou to do this season?
I expect the floor to be 10 wins, right? Coach Drink's a great head coach. He's done a really good job every year at getting better himself, whether it's just being a head coach, giving up, calling plays, replacing coordinators, right, that he's had to do, just being nimble, being flexible, and not being one of those old school coaches who's, this is the way we do it every single day, every single time, this is the way we're going to do it, right? No, it's how are we going to win today, right? How are we going to win this year? What do we look like? What do we need to look like? What are we going to do to get there? The other thing he's done is really embraced the NIL. He embraced it right on the leading edge, right? He got with our legislators, made sure that they were all on the same page, and we were able to get the laws passed so that we were able to start capitalizing on the front end, right? And getting athletes paid and getting them paid sooner, getting them paid the most. And then I think his career has been pretty similar to Coach Pinkel's, but he's been able to have a little bit more success early on because of NIL.
Right.
They both kind of had a little rocky in the very beginning, right? But they also both won some games they shouldn't have won, and they lost some games they shouldn't have lost. But the thing that they've always done is they won the recruiting battle, right? Coach Pinkel was pulling guys out of St. Louis when nobody could, right? He was getting guys out of Florida, out of Texas, and Drink's doing the same thing, right? He won some games he shouldn't have won. He lost some games he shouldn't have lost, but he was always getting better. He was always finding guys, and he was getting guys to commit to Mizzou. And I think those things coupled with the NIL and his ability to adapt and embrace and not hold on to the way things used to be have really been kind of the flagship of his team.
So real quick, Ruck and Mitch, how pissed are you guys when you guys didn't have that NIL money? Because you guys would have been getting bags in Columbia back in the day.
Well, I can speak for myself. I might have gotten a $5 foot long. I think Ruck left some serious cheese on the table, dude. Like a guy like that.
I'd be at Disney right now with the giraffe in my room. I'll tell you.
Well, I think to Ruck's point, right? Like the thing Drink has done very well is embrace NIL early. Didn't fight it, understood what Missouri's strengths were, what those weaknesses were. I'd be remiss to say that when we first hired him, I didn't think he was just the king of the goobers, dude. Like an absolute goober. And he leaned into it. And I think the thing that players appreciate is his authenticity.
Yeah,
100%.
And when you're authentic and you know football and you know the game and you can relate, and you can push guys who need to be pushed, pull back when you need to pull back and understand today's game, that is immeasurable.
Yes.
And I think he's done a great job of that.
And to test what, or to say what you're saying, if you see him on the surface, he's a goober. Like he's like, man, he's a dork, man. But he can get to kids that I wouldn't even imagine he can get to on the recruiting trail. And he doesn't have to look like Quinn Schneider and dress like Quinn, because Quinn was doing it back in the day when he was recruiting. He was listening to hip hop on the plane, and it was like, okay, Quinn had that, ability to, a swag and ability to relate. But Coach Drink is doing that, and it's like, whoa. So he's got that kids trust in him, and he can get kids to come there buying the program.
Well, the thing that you mentioned there is he's able to relate to the kids, right? This is a totally different era. Everybody's got an Instagram and they need their pictures and all of this stuff. And like, man, them old school cats, Coach Pinkel, Coach Saban, get that stuff out of here. But Drink really just leaned into all that stuff. He lets those kids be themselves, and that's a testament to his flexibility, right? And using what he's got.
Right. I'll tell you guys, when I first saw them, when I saw his first press conference, I'm calling Jamie and I'm like, This is who they hired here. Like, this is the guy. But watching,
we all did. Dude.
but watching what he's done with the program, like I said, the way he relates, the way he recruits. I told Jamie, I said, dude, this dude's as good as anybody in the country. The way he recruits. I mean, this guy recruits. He's bringing talent in. The guys he has there. I mean, Mitch, what do you expect Mizzou to do this year? Like, what would be your lowest point, you think, or what do you think? Can these guys win a national championship in the next couple of years? Maybe not this year, but can they win one in the next couple of years?
Yeah, I mean, it's a great question, right? It's twofold, because it's the curse of every generation of football player to come in and say that the generation before them knew how to play the football the proper way, or that was the right way to do. Like, the way that it's going now, like the athletes are bigger, faster, stronger. It's a very competitive league, and I just hope that they come together. I think that they'll probably 10 wins would be great. I think that the likelihood of them hitting adversity early is probably plausible. It's all about how you come back from that adversity. And the problem now is that there are no rooms for error. Like in the NFL, you can lose a few games, still make a playoffs and make a push. Like with this playoff picture in the college, it's a little bit different. But I just say this isn't an answer to your question, but I'm just so proud to be a Tiger right now. Proud of the guys. I think it's a fun deal in a business that the college football is now, which is the new stage of football that we haven't seen, that we didn't quite play in. Like, they still have the bought in of loving the university, having that team chemistry, which is hard to find. It is semi-professional football right now. I would love to see them make a push. They've always played these really good teams close. Like, you watch the Georgia-Missouri game, they haven't come out on top. It's always a close game. They've gotten Florida and all these teams a bunch, and it would do me great for them just to thump Texas's ass once or twice.
And the polls came out today. Preseason number 1, Texas.
Texas is.
Yeah.
I don't know. They don't play them this year. I know they play them next year, but I would say 9 or 10 wins would be awesome and totally feasible for this team.
Right.
Big thing's going to be the quarterback, right? If we can get the quarterback thing ironed out, I think we'll be okay.
I was talking to get some guys that I've worked with previously, talking to the Derek Johnsons and Jamal Charles, and I got a few guys from UT that I work with now. And I'm telling you, to watch some of those recruiting, the recruiting visits when they're bringing those 5-star kids in, and they've got 3 or 4 Lamborghinis in the entryway when they're walking in. I mean, I'm like, come on.
Okay,
man.
so let me go on a little bit of a tangent, because part of me is just like Texas can lick me, because the reason why Missouri, one of the reasons why they left was because in like that 2012-2013 season, the Texas had created a Longhorn football network.
Yes.
And they were raking in so much more money that they weren't divvying up, and rightfully so. Like, they had that opportunity to do that. But then we go up to the SEC along with Texas A&M, and then they still find a way to weasel themselves into the Southeastern Conference. And God bless them, they're still top dogs wherever they go. So it pisses me off a little bit, especially as an Austinite. I love my town, and when UT's doing well, Austin's doing well, and I love Derek Johnson and Jamal and all those guys, but like, dude, it pisses me off.
I love it. Hey, Mitch, I love it, man. This is why we have the podcast, because we want that raw stuff to come out, man. Mitch just said it best right there.
You can't follow that.
It pisses me off. I love it. I love those guys. I got nothing against them.
Yeah, of course.
It's not against them, but University of Texas is just kind of grinding my gears for the last 2 decades.
Yeah,
dude.
and you know what? That's kind of everyone's sentiment about Texas. I mean, everyone's like, "Fuck Texas." I mean, it's just, and I don't care in what sport. If it's in, if it's in baseball, if it's in women's softball,
man.
it's just like, I mean,
everybody in the country has that sentiment.
Yeah, I love it though, because Mitch is born and raised and played high school ball in Austin. That's where his family's from. But played at Mizzou, and like he said, man, he's like, fuck those guys in Texas. Like,
Well, we were supposed to play in DKR the year we went to SEC. I love Texas. I love Austin, and I do find myself rooting for the university when it just sucks. It's primal stuff, dude. I hate that I still watch them. I still hate. I grew up burnt orange, like you said, man, and it's pisses me off.
Hey, so listen, when we've got all this Love You Bro gear, we've got the black and gold, but we've sent some of the burnt orange out. And when I send stuff to you, am I sending the burnt orange Love You Bro or the black and gold Love You Bro?
I will send you, if you send me the burnt orange one, I'll send you it back in a nice little package, just with a big fat sloppy juice wrapped in it. So there you go.
Hey, Rob, I don't think he wants any burnt orange, bro.
I wouldn't send it.
No.
If you do, don't check your mail for a while.
Don't put a return address on it.
But you know what is cool, and I will say this real quick, because we talked about, college football and not having a lot of room for error. But I think it's awesome, like that, not week 0, but week 1, that Texas, Ohio State, LSU, Clemson. Yeah. I mean, it's going to be an incredible week of games. If you're a football fan, then you go into the fall. I mean, it's going to be amazing. And then what KUMU's week 2, which has a lot of implications. Not as much for Kansas, because there's not There's not a real high, a lot of expectations, kind of an unknown, but for obviously MU, but it's just, I love that they get to do that early on and make those big time matchups, because you can right the ship and get in with, and that's a big thing in, when the voting comes down, it's like, you take a 2-loss Georgia team, or do you take a team that didn't belong last year, and no disrespect to SMU, but they got their doors blown off when they stepped up to that caliber of play of what is the SEC. They didn't belong.
That was next level for SMU. They weren't ready
and so
for all that.
I hope that
smoke.
they get it right, where they said, hey, you know what, I'll take a 3-loss team in the SEC, and as opposed to a team that goes undefeated that doesn't have the competition you guys play week in, week out. And not giving too much credit to Kansas, but Kansas is a tough matchup week 2, non-conference game. That's not,
it's a rivalry game. So it didn't matter what the records were.
Sure.
Right? Like, one team could be undefeated, the other team couldn't maybe not have won a game, but that game, it was going to be a one-possession ball game.
Right, for sure.
And whenever you play in tough games like that, especially early on, it makes your team gel faster.
Yeah.
Right. And so you get ready, you get into the season, and you're already playing competitive ball. You're not playing, no offense to Murray State, but you're not playing Murray State, Kentucky State, things like that, right?
Yeah.
You guys are getting after it. You focus, you lock in earlier. And, it carries on into the rest of the season.
Yeah.
I'm curious what that spread's going to look like when that spread comes out. I mean, I don't know.
I think it's MU by 10, 9.5, 10. At home,
that sounds about right. About 9.5, 10. I would think. I mean, we're hoping Kansas keeps it close. I mean, the worst thing that can happen to Mizzou that day is for KU to come in there and take that one, because, man, we might be partying in Columbia all weekend if that happens.
It won't.
We might fly out to see you in Brazil, Mitch.
Well, yeah. I mean, I think to y'all's point, it's going to be a close game. You have those rivalry matches, especially early in the season. You got to think like Iowa State always happens early, and it's always a tight one. And the problem is for the players, like these week 1 matchups are so key for implications in the college football playoffs, right? Like you see the Texas, Ohio States, and whatnot. It's great for watching football for the fans' sake, but for players, I appreciated those like Murray State games or those Miami of Ohio games you kind of get your footing.
Sure.
You kind of get because there's only so much, there's no preseason games, but the stakes are at their highest, man. This is semi-professional football now. So you're going to have those big matchups with huge implications early, man. It's awesome.
On tonight's episode, we're kicking off the college football season and kicking it off with the University of Missouri. We have some special guests tonight. We want to say thank you to our sponsor tonight, which is Westport Flea Market, 817 Westport Road. We just want to say thank you to them. Best Burger in Kansas City. Shout out to Joe's Wallenberg and what those guys do over there at Westport Flea Market. Best Burger in Kansas City. Can't tell you guys enough to get over there. Grab a beer, grab a burger. Always a good time over there. They've been doing it for a long time over there for many years. So thank you to Westport Flea Market for sponsoring our MU kickoff football show. Welcome back to Love You Bro podcast. We're on our set we had a couple legends, and now we got a third one, man. We got a third legend joining our show tonight. We want to welcome the Love You Bro podcast family, Jeremy Maclin. J-Mac, thanks for taking time out tonight.
Man, appreciate y'all having me on, man.
Absolutely, man. As you can see, you got a couple fellow legends here, man. We're doing our Missouri football kickoff show for 2025. We got Rucker on set, Mitch Morse calling in from Florida, and J Mac from St. Louis, man. Thank you guys. But J Mac, man, let's talk a little bit about your time at Mizzou. We've talked about Mitch's, we've talked about Rucks. I mean, J Mac, you're a legend, brother. Tell us a little bit about your time at the University of Missouri.
Man, I tell people all the time, if I can go back to one point in time, man, it would be me at Mizzou. It was, not just the success on the field, man, but, I met some of my closest friends. I became a young man there. It was life-changing. And I think that's a testament to, the city. I think it's a testament to the coaching staff. I think it's a testament to my teammates. But also to myself, man. So it was a blast. I got no complaints. It was a blast.
Now you were injured. Did you take your ACL your freshman year? Is that when you did that?
Yeah, the summer going into my freshman year.
Summer going into your freshman year is when you tore your ACL. Yep. How'd you tear your ACL that summer?
Willie Moe pushed me in the back.
See? That's what we're talking about, Willie Moe.
You heard it here. No discrepancy. Pushed him in the back.
No, man, listen, most of the incoming freshmen, man, you get there, you take summer school, right? They kind of get you acclimated to like what's about to happen.
Right.
I came there, I was like, you know what? It's just about ball. I didn't take summer school classes. I slept on Chase Daniel futon in his living room. It was strictly about ball for me. So it was kind of a fluke play. I went up to catch a ball in the back of the end zone, and he kind of tried to get me out of the end zone, and I came down. I ended up hyperextending my knee and ended up tearing everything in my knee. So,
wow. So let's talk about your freshman year that you played was 06, correct? That was your freshman year on the field.
Oh, I guess it would have been
Was it 06 or 07?
It would have been the 07, 08 season.
07, 08. Yeah. So that's the year as a freshman, you set the NCAA record, the all-time single-season record for freshmen for all-purpose yards, correct?
I believe so, yes.
Yes, sir.
It was 2008. I checked it. It's 2008. And the problem is he knows that too. He just didn't want to. He didn't want to change that, which just kind of speaks to the guy he is.
So J Mac, you come out of Kirkwood High School there in St. Louis, and you come, University of Missouri. I mean, did Pinkham just say, "Hey, man, every chance we get, we're putting the ball in your hand"? Is that kind of how it was when you landed there on campus?
Man, it kind of my recruiting class, I was the top recruit, I believe, and then I ended up getting hurt. So when I got hurt, Denario Alexander and Jared Perry were two true freshman receivers that played. So actually going into what would have been my redshirt freshman year, I was actually backing up Denario going into the Illinois game. I had some packages and everything, and Denario actually went down that game, I believe. And I had already kind of like burst onto the scene, made a couple of plays, but that kind of was like the start of like what you guys know today. But going into that training camp, like I was the number 2 behind Denario. I think there was like him and I were making the majority of the plays from the wideout position, but you still had Ruck, you still had Chase. And honestly, we had a lot of good receivers. So it was all about, hey, we can't take Ruck and Chase off the field to go 10 personnel. So how can we get Denario, Jeremy, the tight ends all on the field at one time? So we end up coming up with like some special packages and things like that to be able to do that, man. But I think a lot of doesn't get recognized is how talented that whole skill group was. Like I said, the 2 All-American tight ends, Chase won the Mackey. Will Franklin played in the league. Tommy got a shot. I played in the league. Denario played in the league. So, we had a lot of guys, man. So, you kind of, I got all the accolades or the recognition, man, but we were deep. We were really, really deep.
I mean, would you guys say that was probably the best Mizzou team that's ever been?
Oh, hands down. I'll say that.
It had to be. Yeah,
if you want to say that, we're not going to deny it.
I'll say that. Offensively, you guys was a problem. I mean, that's the bottom line. That was. I mean,
there's a lot of
that's
NFL teams
matchup
on that
nightmare
team.
everywhere.
But the thing is like as talented as we were, it was so much fun because nobody cared who got the credit, right?
Yep.
We just wanted to win. And one of the most fun things about it, especially even in the KU game, right, was Mac was talking about how Denario was hurt so much of that season. But if you go back to that KU game, he made so many plays. He made plays on third down. He made plays down the field. And I can remember being in that game thinking, and early on in the season, right, when we're playing Illinois and it's J-Mac's coming out party, when I got to Mizzou, it was like we were grinding, trying to get there. We were trying to make Mizzou a place where cats like Jeremy Maclin wanted to come play, right? And so having started at that point and finishing in 2007, it was so easy. I remember being in the middle of the game thinking, man, this is fun.
I'm wide open.
This is easy. I don't have to work so hard because he just scored a 40-yard touchdown, and it was second down. Like, what I mean? It was just the dude would take a screen, and he would just 40 yards later down the sideline, and closest guy behind him was 10 yards behind him. I mean, that year was so much fun because everyone had experienced success, and we were just so happy for each other. It was a blast. Let
me ask you guys a question. If you guys had that team back from that time, J-Mac when you were there, Ruck when you were there, Mitch, if you could have just been just a little bit older to be on that team, could you guys have won a national championship with that team?
Go ahead.
Well, so this is frustrating because when I got to Missouri, the standard was that '07 team, to a point where Coach Pinkel hammered it ad nauseum, where we're starting to get sick of it. But you look back, but you look back at it, and J Mac alluded to it: offense, defense, like it was stacked from top to bottom. And I think it was just the beginning of, like, you look at the dudes, more than anything, they were great football players, but they knew how to compete. And it was kind of what Coach Pinkel prided his whole system on, was like, we're going to set a competitive environment and we're going to let these guys get better at football. And then when we get to the game, it's going to be a celebration. Like, I think that was the closest team by far for Missouri to make it to the national championship game. They played well above their competition in regards to not only the guys that they had, but the way they competed, the way they played for each other. And as a guy who was there from 10 to 14, like, Coach Pinkel did everything he could to bring guys like J-Mac, Ruck back just to be around us and to kind of set that tone. And as much as we hated old guys coming in there and saying, like, this is the stuff that we laid for you, it's the truth, man. Like, those guys went there, and they could probably say the same thing for guys like Justin Smith's era coming in. Like, that's just the nature of the beast. And progressively, what you like to see Missouri now is it's just a culmination of everything that, like, that '07 team, I still think is probably, as much as I hate saying it, because I think that 13 team, like the 13 versus '07 team, would have been a great game.
Yep.
But I think if you look at it, that '07 team knew how to win those big games and those big moments. I don't know if you want to change that much at all, that '07 team much at all. It's a remarkable thing. And as a guy who didn't play there, it was really fun to see, just because growing up in Texas, you didn't really know anything outside of what was going on at University of Texas, which now, looking back at it, is disgusting, because I hate them to death. But I still think the '07 team is the standard and the pride for Missouri football in the past.
Right.
Mac, I'll let you touch it.
I you know what? It's funny because I do think, like, I think the '07 team was, but like the 13 team, damn good. The team last year, right? Like,
really good.
No, you know what I mean? I think, like you said, I think that there was just something about kind of what we had going on, just from, like, the mindset. I'll never forget, we're in training camp, and you know, us young guys, we didn't know any better. Ruck has been there. And Ruck looked at us and said, yo, y'all don't even know how good we're about to be. So you could tell that they were hungry, and you could tell that they were ready for some young playmakers like we had that were coming into the fold, right? And you knew how competitive practice was. You knew, right, offense, defense, like, getting after it, right? You knew that something was about to happen. We didn't quite know what it was. But the whole 7-5, 8-4, we knew that was kind of out the window. And that was not a game we stepped onto the field, including going down to Norman, all right, where we felt like we were inferior to anybody.
Right.
Like that game, you know, we had an interception that, you know, that goes off Pig's hand, who had an All-American type season. If he catches that, that's a different ball game. We had a miscommunication between, I believe, me and Chase that resulted in a fumble. So, you know, I definitely think now, the one place where we didn't have Mitch Morse, right? We didn't have the interior, right? That those guys had to be able to go out and compete and do some of the things that they did. So I do think that, like, it would have been a dang on good game. Now, if you combine the two teams, there's no doubt in my mind. Right?
No doubt.
You know what I mean? But I do, and that's no shot at anybody I played with that was superior. But, like, you know, Connor and Mitch and, like, JB and all those, like, you know what I mean? That we didn't have those guys. So I do think it would have been a damn good game. But I mean, of course, I'm gonna say the '07 team. But man, it was really cool, man, to kind of and listen. I'm gonna say it started even before the '07 season, because I think Brad and some of the fireworks that he brought and some of the, you know what I mean? I think it just kind of kept building and building and building. And that's why you get that opportunity to knock off Oklahoma at the crib, and things like that. So. It was fun, man.
Yeah. So J-Mac and Ruck. So, but you guys, and that's really, really nice what you said, J-Mac, about the prior. But you guys will always be known, when you guys are long gone, you guys will always be known as the culture-changing squad that made everything different and put Missouri on the map as a school to be reckoned with year in and year out. And kids would go there, like you said, you were trying to get the J-Macs there, and the kids start coming more and more. But you guys right, Mitch? They kind of recreated that culture.
Absolutely.
Recreated that culture and recreated. And now, J-Mac, you started, and kids coming through from Luther Burgers don't come there without J-Mac. And to see your success in Columbia, because they want to be at Tennessee's, they want to be at Florida's, they want to be. But what you guys did is legendary. No one can ever take away. And we're all long gone. You guys will still be in the books. And the people who know, grandkids, you guys changed what Missouri football was to getting guys like Mitch and the longevity success that you guys have had. And it's just a matter of time before you kick in the door, but you guys started and created that.
I think Ruck said it best earlier, J-Mac, before you were on. Ruck talked about the transition and stuff when, Pinko got there when they were there, to start making that more of, the games were close and we were losing those games by 2 or 4 when we were leading in the third quarter, to getting over that hump. But you said we got over that hump and had that winning attitude of like, those games no longer were we losing. Those games we're now winning by 7, 10, 14 points. But that's where that culture changed. And I think, Gary Pinko, man. To me, Pinko, who we started recruiting and bringing in, getting the J-Max, watching what you guys have done there has been special. But it's and anybody who knows, football knows the game, to watch where you guys were there to where they are now. I think Drinkwitz is doing a great job. J-Mac, what do you expect in this upcoming season from Mizzou, for one? And then secondly, we're going to jump into this KU-Mizzou rivalry, because these kids that are there now don't know the rivalry the way you guys do the rivalry.
Yeah.
So, but what do you expect the Mizzou team to do this year, J-Mac?
You know what? I'm excited because, I think that, like I said, the blueprint for kind of how Drink wants to play has been laid. Right, I love the pickup going to get Hardy. Right, kind of having that bell horse, that bell cow that we kind of lost since Cody. All right, and I do think that I think you're looking at a high draft pick in him. Right, if he can go produce the way that he's been doing it. I love getting Coleman to come back home. I think he kind of gives you some of that explosiveness, right, that you lost with Luther. I think the big thing for me is like who emerges at the quarterback position. Right, is it Sam? Right? Is it our guy from Penn State? Yep. I know. I don't know if he's healthy. I don't know, but I know we got a talented young freshman that I know they're real high on too. I think it's Zollers, right? So I think for me, that's the most intriguing part for me. But I do think, man, Drink, like we know what we want to do, right? And we want to run. We want to run outside zone off tackle, and we want to run play action, and we want to try to get our playmakers the ball in space. And I think Moore does a great job with catering the offense towards his quarterback. So I'm really interested to see which one of those guys takes control and who we see out there week 1.
Okay, so now let's touch on kind of the reason we all kind of got together tonight for this MU football kickoff show. We talked to, we've asked Ruck, we've asked Mitch. Do the kids that are in that locker room right now, do they get what this KU-MU rivalry means, or are they kind of? Do you think they'll kind of? I don't want to say overlook Kansas, but you know what I'm saying? They're thinking big picture. I think they're. Yeah. But what do you guys think? Where will their heads be? KU-MU. Yeah, I don't
think they're overlooking it at all.
Right.
I just don't think that they understand quite the gravity of what that rivalry is.
That you guys did.
Right. Not quite.
First of all, that KU team is that's a KU team that's going to compete. Yeah. They got a veteran quarterback. Like, that's not a slouch team. So I hope, and I've seen kind of the videos of us having guest speakers come in and kind of try to explain to them kind of what that rivalry means. But I don't think that, because it's been so far removed, I don't know if they'll ever truly feel like what it's like, because they didn't go there thinking that, hey, KU is our rival. They went to Arkansas is our rival.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, that's what it was. So, and this is college football throughout, right? Like, right. There's no more Oregon State. There's no more Mizzou. Like, there's no more of these big time rivalries that we've been so accustomed to seeing. And it's tough to ever. Because even if you bring them back, even if you bring back the Oregon State, right? Like, it's just the kids that are there now. It's just tough because you didn't grow up seeing it the same way. You didn't grow there knowing that, hey, here we play Nebraska, we play KU. Like, here's what these games mean. Like, like I don't think there's any way. Like Ruck, like in the household, right? Like he got it in the household. So like I don't think there's any more of that. You know what I mean? Like because even now, right? Let's say my uncle went to a certain school, and I like even now because it's so far removed, like does it really hit the same? You know, so I don't think they'll ever really be able to fully understand,
of course,
like the magnitude of this game.
It's tough to manufacture it, right? And they tried to do that with Arkansas, but arguably, to me, South Carolina's the biggest rival with us as Arkansas is, right? We battle those guys tough every single year, and so it's interesting to see the rivalries that they try to create, but also the ones that just kind of emerge on their own. That's probably the most intriguing part about the game today,
without a doubt.
Mitch, you kind of talked about that a little bit. Did you say Texas A&M? You thought Mitch was kind of when you were there was this a huge ride with you because you guys had kind of come over same time from Big 12?
Well, to Mac's point, like there's something you can't emulate something as pure as like a Kansas, Missouri. You can't force that upon someone. I was there when they tried to make Arkansas the battle, and like no one gave a shit. It's just, of course, like it was a football game, and of course we wanted to win, and we understood that whenever you play those Thanksgiving games in colleges, those mean something, right? But to that point, we had played A&M so many times, and they were such a tight games, and we had both kind of gone over from the Big 12 to SEC. It just made sense to me, but. I'm super interested to see what comes about of this KU game. I think we're going to give those guys. We got to give those guys a little more credit than they deserve in regards to rising to the occasion, especially early coming up. I think it's going to be a real. I think you're going to see some chippiness, some jaw jack, and the Holy Spirit's going to come out of a few guys, and it's going to be really fun for the fans, the casual fans, and the guys who have something invested in this to watch.
Jude said he's ready to box.
You know what's crazy is. Even though like we can't fully like you said emulate like what it actually means, I go back to 2 years ago when Mizzou played Kansas State. That game felt like more of a like rival game than any one of their SEC games.
Without doubt.
And I think like Rucker just hit it. Like South Carolina probably feels like the next closest, right? But like I'm telling you right now, nothing felt like that Kansas State game. Right. You know what I mean? So it's now, like I said, maybe you can't fully dive back into it, but like it does show you that like old habits die slow. Because granted, we didn't think Kansas State was like our rival, but like man, those were some big time games. Like I remember we went into Manhattan, hadn't won there in X amount of years, and like beat them, and like how the crowd was. So like. It does speaks volumes to like getting that old school Big 12 matchup back.
Yeah.
My favorite thing about the K-State games every year, I gotta say this because it's you two. Every year, that was always late November game. KU was the next week, and no matter who was winning, the whole stadium was chanting "Beat KU" because we were playing the next week. We were in Manhattan, beating them for the first time in 25 years by 20 points, and everybody's chanting "Beat KU." It was incredible.
They were chanting "Beat KU." They were chanting something else. KU weren't they? They love doing that in Manhattan.
That one too.
That one too. Doing Manhattan. That's why.
J-Mac, when you were in Columbia and you guys did line up against Kansas, did you play against Talib and Harris when you were there?
Yeah, listen, I'm telling you right now, Kansas wasn't by accident a top 5 team in the nation that year. Like they had some dudes. They had, like I said, they had Talib, they had Harris, 2 of the best corners of the decades of when I was around.
That's awesome.
Was kind of like that newfound, you had the Legion of Boom. They called themselves the Legion of something, No Fly Zone. I forgot what they called themselves, but like, you had Briscoe, you had Ty, like they had some dudes now, like, so it wasn't, and credit to what's my guy's name, Brooke? Mangino, Credit to him, man. He for a while he had guys wanting to go there, and then what's so crazy is. We turned around the next season and we end up losing the game, right? That we had no business losing. But that's what's so great about rivalry.
That's it.
Right? Like you throw all that other stuff out the window, man. Like, you know how many times Oregon State has probably upset Oregon, or or Washington State, or some of these rivalries that have died by the wayside because, or when we tear down a goalpost when we beat Nebraska, had no business beating them back in the day. You know what I mean? So it sucks to not have those games anymore.
So Mac, back then when you're playing that, it had to be one of the best cornerback duos in the Big 12.
Oh.
So would you get up and say, you know what, I'm gonna go do my work right now because I know I'm going against two of the not only in the country but the Big 12, and both guys had long-term careers, Super Bowl winners in the NFL. So with you as in college, like, not only was it Missouri, Kansas, but it's Talib Harris, and I'm gonna go get mine, and like, was it extra for you?
Listen, when you're in it, like, you don't view it that way. Now looking back at it, right? Like, you're like, damn, like these two dudes were the real deal.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm gonna tell you this, right? Once again, like, we had this quiet confidence, right? That 07 team. We could have played the New York Jets, and we felt like, oh, y'all about to get this work. Like, that's just how we carried ourselves.
I love it.
It was like, no matter, the only person that can stop us is us.
Right.
Like, and that's just kind of how we felt. Like, it was such a quiet confidence, right? But like, Ruck said fun, man. It was so much fun.
J-Mac, will you be on campus? Will you be there in Columbia for that KUMU game?
Yeah, I think I got three of them. I think KU, I think homecoming, and I believe the Bama game.
Nice. I love that. I love that. Hey, listen, you guys, I can't thank you guys enough for taking time out of your schedule and everything. I don't want to keep you guys too long. J-Mac, thank you for calling in. I know you've got dad duty going on. Mitch is on vacation in Florida, but you guys have made us have one of our best podcasts we've had. Now you guys are part of the family. Mitch, J-Mac, I'm going to send you guys a link. Show them some of the gear. I'm going to send you guys a link so you guys can order some of this gear. We'll ship it out to you. All you got to do is just say what you want. We got some black and gold. Love You Bro podcast.
Love it.
Yeah, so we got some swag for you guys.
Mitch and J-Mac, I told Jude, I look decent in gold and black, boy. I look decent, boy.
Yeah, you sure did, buddy. That's a good one.
Hey, Mitch, thank you so much for coming on our show. J-Mac, thank you for being part of our podcast tonight.
Hey, real quick, fun story, right? Dude, I don't know if you know this, but I'm the reason why Ruck and his wife are married, okay?
Oh, shit. This is the good stuff here.
I'm the reason, right?
Tell it, man.
But check this out, though. Like, one of the reasons why I'm married to my wife is because of Jude. He picked my wife up, and she was, I mean, he first class service, man. It gave me all the brownie points to begin with. So I appreciate you, man.
J-Mac, I appreciate you saying that. Listen, I've been blessed in my 22 years to work with a lot of guys, and I've worked with some great Missouri legends, Mitch Morse, Jeremy Maclin, Martin Rucker. So thank you guys for being so good to me and let me be a small part, a tiny part of your guys' NFL careers. I love you guys, man. Seriously, we say love you, bro.
Appreciate you guys coming on, man.
Guys. Thank you so much.
M-I-Z.
You too, Mitch. Always.
You guys. Take it easy,
guys. We'll be in
boys.
touch. Love you guys.
Love you, bro. Be
Thank
good,
you,
fellas.
guys. Guys, we'd like to thank our resident sponsor, Proactive Solutions. They've been with us from day one. They allow us, Love You Bro podcast, to get to do what we do each and every week, and that's bring you a new episode with new guests. So a big shout out to Dean and Natalie Thede at Proactive Solutions. Proactive Solutions has been delivering infrastructure solutions and IT design and consultation services to clients ranging from startups to Fortune 100 companies for more than 27 years. They are proud to be a Kansas City locally owned and a top woman-owned business, offering custom solutions and personalized support. So thank you to Proactive Solutions, Dean and Natalie. If you guys are interested and your company needs some IT solutions, reach out to Proactive Solutions at www.proactivesolutions.com. we have two great resident sponsors that really help us here at Love You Bro Podcast and allow us to do what we get to do week in and week out. Lula's Southern Cookhouse, Bradley and Brittany Gilmore, owners of Lula's. It's at 1617 Main Street. If you have not been down here, please come down on a Sunday and have brunch. Great wait staff, great bartenders. The ownership team with Bradley and Brittany Gilmore are just fantastic people, and they allow us to do what we get to do in this amazing event space at Lula's Southern Cookhouse.